Hello and welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. I have missed you, lovelies. I really have. Um, I've been watching this series called Mariposa del Barrio with Jenny Rivera, and I am so immersed in that. I think I want to do a review. I have like 4 pages worth of notes on this series because it's just really interesting. The various themes that show up and how I definitely see myself in some of those characters and how I see other people that I know in a lot of the characters and things that have happened in the series. But what I wanted to come on to talk today about is building up your intuition because I feel like I see a lot of uh, advice telling women to listen to their intuition. And also I feel like a lot of women I've talked to feel like they don't know how to connect with their. So I just want to kind of give you a few tips on how you can do that. So the first one I will share is turning off your GPS. I know that sounds like, well, what is that supposed to do? But one day when you don't have anything super, super important to do, like maybe like let's say you're going to a new library or a new coffee shop or maybe like an art gallery or a park or a lake or just somewhere you've never been before. And you maybe it's a Sunday and you're not rushed and you don't have to be there at any specific time. And you may know more or less where it is, but you don't know, you've never been there before. So most of us would just plug in, Google Maps or whatever GPS system you have, and we just get in the car and we just follow the GPS. But one day, like a day that I just explained and a place that I just explained, don't use your GPS. Just look at the map and see more or less where it is that you're going, and then just kind of go in that direction and then let your intuition take you there. If you can do that every now and then, especially when you're just trying to wake up your intuition and you're trying to get back connected with it or get connected with it for the first time, well, it's always there, so it won't be the first time, but just in a more conscious way, when you're trying to connect with your intuition in a more conscious way, that is definitely a way to do it because you'll realize that you are guided from something from within, even when you're not using external directions. There's an internal leading from within side of you that will take you where you need to go. So that's one way. Another way is to, when you're in the produce section and you're trying to figure out what you want to cook, what you want to make for yourself, um, ask yourself, what do I need to be well? And just walk around and see what you are drawn to. Is it cucumbers? Is it sweet potatoes? Is it cabbage? What are you being drawn to when you ask yourself, what do I need to be well right now? What am I in need of? How can I best nourish myself? Recipe that you've read online, or, oh, I'm in the mood for this. I'm just have a taste for that. It's a different kind of question that will intuitively lead you where you need to go. Um, and a lot of times, like let's say you are drawn to collard greens and you make some collard greens and you eat the collard greens and you feel nourished, you feel fulfilled, you feel well, like, then after you do that, honor yourself. Like, I'm so grateful and thankful that my intuition led me to these collard greens that nourish my body, and now I feel good. Because once you start acknowledging your intuition, it grows. So, asking the right questions and then honoring yourself after the fact, it strengthens your intuition. Another thing that you can do is think back on times where you had a gut feeling. Let's take it the negative way. So you had a gut feeling like, oh, I shouldn't go to this party, or I shouldn't meet this particular person, or I shouldn't take this job offer. And you went against what you felt, and it ended up not going well. It just ended up, something negative ended up happening from the situation. So you want to honor, ask for forgiveness for your intuition. Like, I'm so grateful and thankful that you were trying to lead me in the direction that was best for me. And I forgive myself for not listening to my intuition, pretty much. And then at the same sense, also for positive things. When did your intuition tell you, go to this place? It didn't make sense on paper. It didn't make sense maybe to someone else on the outside, but you just followed your intuition. And it was amazing for you. It was great for you. It was beneficial. It was a win. Those are the times that you also want to think about and honor yourself. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I listened to my intuition. It led me to this thing or to this person or to this opportunity, and it ended up going great for me. And you want to honor that. And at the grocery store, you want to do that with your healing modalities, like those healing whatever those healing modalities are. So for me, it was when I started to do some spiritual work, and a lot of it was very intuitive for me. A lot of it was very intuitive. And I would just kind of scan over, whether it be crystals, or candles or incense or sage and whatever. And I would just like, what do I need right now? What is it? Where do I need to go? What is the ritual? What is the thing I'm doing right now? And I would be led into knowing what it is that I needed. And I did that with herbs as well. So a lot of the herbal mix that I put together and a lot of the natural remedies that I am attracted to, a lot of it's coming from within, because I ask myself, what do I need right now? I want to feel optimal. I want to feel well. I want to operate on 100 cylinders. I want to be operating at my best. What do I need right now? And allowing myself to be led to what it is that I need. And I found that over time, my intuition just started to get stronger and stronger and stronger. Another thing that you can do to strengthen your intuition is to quiet other elements of your mind. Other elements of your mind. So they may be racing thoughts. So there may be things you could do as far as meditation, to quiet the mind. Journaling helps to quiet the mind. Um, Talking to a professional can help you quiet the mind. And once you are able to get the clutter out and all those racing thoughts, that quiet softness is the intuition. So I want to say I have another video on here, where I was basically talking to you about a situation that I had where there was a lot of things that were being kicked up, like um, thoughts of fear about, I don't remember exactly the situation I was telling you lovely ladies about, or remember, but there was a lot of like fear of abandonment and fear of this and that, and just a lot of emotions. And that I knew that wasn't my intuition. I knew that wasn't my intuition. I knew that was other voices, and I kind of was just trying to kind of wade through that clutter and allow it to dissipate and allow it to flow down a river, so that I could hear my intuition. And ultimately, oh yeah, I think it was with listening to my intuition while dating or something like that. If I think of that video, I'll put it in the description. But ultimately, my intuition was like, no. Sometimes I feel like the intuition is in um not in alignment with what I want to do. Sometimes that happens. And with that situation, it happened. And I think it's a matter of trusting yourself to stick to what that feeling is, what that knowingness is, that voice, that that being, that aura, because even today I was thinking about why didn't it work out, and I need to reach out and I want to know why. It's like, it doesn't really matter why. It doesn't even matter why, because ultimately my intuition was like, no ma'am, no ma'am, you won't. Stop it, have a seat. This is not what you want. This isn't it. This isn't for you. And it was right. you know I was right. My intuition was right on so many levels, and I feel like there's just a knowingness. My intuition knows more than I can see with my bare eyes. It's just a gut feeling. It's hard to explain, but uh, one tactic to grow your intuition is to quiet the other voices, the doubt, the worry, sometimes the desire for instant gratification, sometimes the desire for Instagram looks, like, oh, this looks great on social media, so I should, be here or go on this trip or be with this person because it looks good, or this person looks good on paper, or this opportunity looks good on paper. Oh, this would look great on my resume. And your intuition is saying no. You know, sometimes, it's always best to listen to your intuition. And sometimes your intuition is telling you to do something and you may be scared to do it. That doesn't normally happen because normally that's an alignment, but something, that could happen where your intuition's leading you somewhere and you're afraid. You're afraid to go there. You're afraid. Um, you have reservations about it, you know, or maybe you think it will be difficult, or maybe you think it's, you're not qualified, or whatever the case may be, but little by little, I think, those are some ways that you can just begin to start to grow your intuition and trust yourself, because the quicker you can connect with that as a woman, it's going to save you so much in the long run. I think another thing that's helpful with growing your intuition is to connect with your inner child. Connect with your inner child and remember when you were a girl, and remember when you were silenced. Remember when you weren't believed. So you expressed feelings and those feelings were negated, or, that's not a reason to cry, or you don't feel that way. And you're like, what? I do feel this way. That's where those seeds of not trusting yourself really ended up getting planted, as a girl. If you can think about yourself as a little girl, and when you expressed feelings, were they affirmed? Were you in an environment that was affirming and loving and nurturing, so that you were free to move forth intuitively? Were you able to um, were you able to express yourself and pursue opportunities, ideas, and relationships that were meaningful to you? Were you forced to endure relationships that were abusive or negative to you? Um, I say it's important to connect with that inner child, because if, as an adult today, you don't trust your intuition, or you don't feel connected to your intuition, or you feel somehow you can't hear it, you don't know when it's you're not aware of it, you're not aware what's intuition, what's not, how do you trust it, when does it talk to me, what does it sound like, um, it does help to kind of go back and start at the source and see if there's anything that you need to clean up, or if there's anything that you need to sort of come to a reparative uh, reconciliation within yourself as a little girl, because you can always start loving yourself today, even though there are things that you didn't get when you should have gotten them as a girl. So if you didn't have that environment, if those things were not afforded to you, You have the ability to, I've talked into, oh my goodness, looking at this driver, scaring me. Sorry. You have the ability to reparent yourself, as I've talked about in other videos. And that means going back, and I'll do another video specifically on remothering yourself, reparenting yourself, but going back and sympathizing and empathizing with that little girl and apologizing. You know, like, I'm so sorry that you were not affirmed, and I'm so sorry that you were not listened to, and I'm so sorry that you were not able to be the natural intuitive girl that you are. And you are naturally intuitive, and affirming that within yourself. I'm naturally intuitive, and somewhere along the way I got disconnected from myself. But not but, and today I am reconnecting with my intuition because I'm naturally intuitive. So those are some other things. So yeah, and affirmations as well. So that leads into that tip as well. So those affirmations, once you go back and you kind of take stock of your girlhood, and you take stock in ways that you may not have been, your intuition and your intuitive nature may not have been nourished the way it should have been, which led you to the disconnection that you may be experiencing today. Taking stock of that and remedying that and addressing that directly. And then those affirmations help. I am intuitive. I appreciate my intuition. I'm so grateful and thankful that my intuition is leading me in the right way. I have a knowingness. I know that everything that I'm doing is in the right order. I trust myself. I trust myself. I trust myself. So those are some initial thoughts that I want to share with you. I'm sure we'll talk more about intuition on this channel. Do let me know how you're feeling about your intuition. Do you feel connected to it? Do you feel intuitive? Do you feel that you're able to follow your gut? Do you feel that you're able to trust yourself? Do you have other questions, concerns, comments about the topic of intuition? I look forward to seeing your comments down below. All right, peace and love.